There's a simple rule that I call the 75% rule that can help you manage your employees much more effectively. And once you have this in mind, no matter what stage you're at, if you're just starting out, you can apply the same thing. If it's you and a part-time helper, if it's just you, or if you're at the point where some of our large clients that are way up the Green Mountain, well on their way up to that $10 million plus a year mark, and you have 50, 60, 80 employees, this process will work well. And it's a great habit to get into. And as we talked about yesterday on the show, we're talking about operational habits this week. So I'm excited to share that with you today. I'm Gabe Arnold, and this is the Green Mountain Podcast. We are the champions who brave the elements to create beauty. We see chaos and create order. We are never afraid of hard work, and we understand the power of strategic thinking and intentional actions. We come from all walks of life, and we will never allow our past to determine our future potential. We create beauty around the homes of our customers and increase the value of our community with the work that we do every day. We understand the power of consistent branding because it helps us grow and serve all those around us. We practice effective sales so our company, employees, and community can benefit from the value we add. We intentionally invest in operational habits that help us deliver excellent results to our customers on a continual basis. We understand that powerful and beautiful things take time to grow, and with consistent watering and intention, amazing results can happen. We are committed to making the world a better place by being positive examples to all those around us. We don't allow anyone to look down on us because we know the value we bring to our community as leaders. We create positive workplaces for our employees so they feel safe and supported, and at the same time, we hold ourselves to high standards. We pursue excellence on a daily basis because we know the journey is worth the sacrifice. We are the protectors of the land. We are the guardians of beauty. We are the heroes. We are landscapers. I remember when my grandfather was still really active in his company and running all the crews, and it hadn't yet been taken over by my dad and hadn't yet been bought by my brother. So he was still very active on the job as 20 years ago at this point, quite a while ago. And there was an employee, we'll call him Glenn, who my grandfather would always say, man, if I could just get Glenn focused, things would go better, because I would see Glenn show up to the job and he had forgotten, to load up, one of the mowers, or he had forgotten to load a piece of equipment and he'd have to run back to the shop to get it. And my grandfather always said, he's just running around, with his head cut off, and nothing as good is going to come from that. And so he spent a lot of time coaching and training and getting Glenn to the point where he was able to be proactive in his planning. And it was one of the first examples that I saw where I learned that, planning ahead is really what creates profit and stability. It's one of the operational habits that we need to not only have for ourselves, like we talked about in yesterday's show, of taking reflection and looking at what we should plan ahead for the week and then executing, but it's something that we need to model for our team members. And we also need to create realistic expectations and even constraints in a healthy way that will help them be planning ahead and be productive. So the 75% rule is something that I've used with multiple teams. I've seen it work in multiple spaces and industries, and obviously in the landscaping space. And it's just a rule of thumb that I've started to use that says, of the hours that you have an employee on the clock, realistically, only 75% of that time is going to be production time. And at first, when I share that with our clients, they're like, man, no way. I can't afford to, lose 2 hours of the 8 hours that they were going to work today. But in reality, when we slow down a little bit and we start to think ahead, then, we're able to actually execute really well, be thorough, and it's faster, which I think all of us have experienced. It's faster to plan ahead, load up everything you need, double check it, go to the job, be ready to execute, have the plan, jump in, do the work, and then leave, than it is to show up missing something, not being prepared, not knowing what you should do, and have to run around or go get something or go back to the shop or come back tomorrow. That creates massive waste of time and effort, which is what will drain your profits very quickly. So this operational habit of planning And also just knowing that 75% of the time is what you can plan for production. Generally speaking, again, it's a rule of thumb. It's a mindset that we like to use. It's something that'll really help you be more effective as you lead your teams. One of the other things that really helps this mindset of plan ahead, execute well, is making sure that every morning you meet with your entire team. And I know at first that may sound intimidating for people with large teams, and it might even sound kind of weird or awkward for people that have only part-time help or a couple employees. But it's something that if you come together and have a team huddle like we do in our company every single day, it gives you that opportunity to plan ahead, double check things, and then move out with confidence and have a thorough plan that you can execute on. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is, regardless of stage, if you're starting out on your own, you take a few minutes in the morning, look at what you plan to do for the week, look at your plan, plan out the day, take 10, 15 minutes tops. That's all it takes. And then you've planned ahead and you're ready to then move forward. If you have a larger team, when you start to have 10 or 15 or larger companies, like I've had the opportunity and privilege to run of 40 or 50 or 60 employees, it takes a little bit longer. It takes 20 or 30 minutes because you're going to answer some questions. You're going to make sure the plan's ready to go and everybody's going to go do their work. And you can even do a daily huddle, a daily connection in the morning all over the phone, or there's a lot of ways to be creative and do it if needed. But ideally, you do it in person or face-to-face over video calls. When you do that, you're going to start to create the culture of who your team is, what you should be focused on for the day, what the goals are for the week, the month, where you're pushing, and it unifies everybody. I notice, I've noticed when people do that and they first implement it, it feels weird, but then they really get into it, and it's something that bonds the team together. And as owners of our companies, we should be planning to say, okay, again, like 75% of the time should be production work. And if I can really have my team be thorough and careful and methodical in their planning, then their execution is going to be so much stronger. So we won't have that wasted time. We won't have the Glenn syndrome, as we'll call it for today, where you show up at the job, you forgot a couple things, you got to go back and get them. And you come back and you're just frazzled and you're not focused and being where you are. And so one of the things that I've seen when this is implemented is at first for the owner, because I've implemented in my own companies, I've helped other clients of ours implement it. At first for the owner, it's like, oh my God, we are going to slow way down. It feels uncomfortable. But after you have this operational habit in place for even just a month, 2 months, 3 months, and from 3 months forward, you're going to start to see the consistency of delivery go up. You're going to start to see the overall speed of production improve because everybody will be aligning in the morning. They'll be checking their plan. They'll be confirming what they're going to do, and less things will get dropped. And if we're used to being busy, which it's so easy to fall into that pattern, I have, and I still do at times and have to dial myself back in and get back to planning and then executing. If we're used to being busy, we think we're getting results. The activity kind of disguises itself and we think, oh, I'm super busy, so I must be getting somewhere. But if we slow down a little bit and we use the time in the morning to plan ahead, we come together with all our employees as a team and we say, what's on the agenda today? What problems do you have? Any challenges on customer accounts? Anything going on with your equipment that we need to talk about? You can proactively prevent issues. You can solve things in real time instead of finding out there was an issue on a customer account last Tuesday, and you have no idea why it didn't come to you. You create this open communication. And so my challenge to you today is start to think about how can you implement that morning huddle, that daily check-in where everybody can come together. You can remind everybody that we're an organization, we're a company that plans ahead and executes well. And you remind them that I'm happy to invest some extra time for you to plan ahead because we're going to execute better. We're going to actually be faster in the long run, even though it slows the beginning slightly. And that type of mindset, that operational habit, I guarantee you, when you put this into place and you optimize it for yourself, because it may not be exactly 70%, it might be 80 for you, or, if you're in a season where everybody's working 10 hours, then maybe taking an hour and a half is plenty of time, to plan ahead throughout the whole day. Or like you just start to think about like, how much time do my team actually need to be planning? How much time do they just have downtime that's unavoidable between jobs? Obviously, they need to take a break, lunch break, or they need to rest and relax and be in good shape for the rest of the day. There's these little components that we don't always think about that steal from the 100% that we think we're getting each day on the job. And having this in place helps us to slow down, to move faster. So I want to encourage you to explore that operational habit today, and see if it's something that you would be willing to implement. Because every time I've seen people do that daily huddle in the morning for 10, 15 minutes typically, and then do their planning with that, it helps them execute much more effectively. So I hope that's helpful to you. If you have any questions or you need any support with this, these are the things that we love sharing with our clients. You can go to landscapemarketinghero.com. And we also teach all of these concepts inside of the Green Mountain Mastermind. If you want to learn more about that, you can also learn about that at landscapemarketinghero.com. Appreciate you taking time to tune in, and we will see you tomorrow on the show. If you're ready to begin your journey up the Green Mountain, where we show you how to build a low-stress, high-profit, $10 million per year landscaping company, then head over to landscapemarketinghero.com to download your free growth map. One of our guides will be there to help you along the way. Again, that's landscapemarketinghero.com.